Okay, so it's been an hour. We're ready to work on our dough. You can see it doesn't quite look as dry as it did, and it's going to look a whole lot better here in a second. You can tell that it's still, the gluten hasn't developed. It's really loose and dry. If you were to take some out, you can see it stretches a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. You can see how it stretches a little bit, but it's not ready to go at all. Okay, so now what I do is I bump it up to speed 2 on my mixer. Normally what people would do at this point would do stretch and folds to develop their gluten and to get the dough smooth. But with my mixer, I don't need to do that. So here we go. We'll do this on the second speed. We will do it for 5 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes. You can see how it's starting to ball up. You can see why I had it the arm so far away from the edge. Even as far away as I have it, it still bumps a bit, which is okay. You see some of the dough collects on the scraper here a little bit. So I move the scraper around so it'll pull the dough off of it. It also helps to stretch it out, work it a bit. This is a really low hydration dough. And so 57%, you could tell just by looking at it. But this machine will stretch it and knead it. If it were a higher hydration, it wouldn't stick so hard to this like this. One more minute and 43 seconds. After this stage, we're going to bump it up to speed 3 and we're going to run it at 3 minutes. And I know this isn't the most exciting part about watching bread be made, but a lot of people have questions about how the dough is supposed to look. And for a low hydration dough, this is looking Just right. See it pulling it and stretching it. That's what we want to do. I got a bowl of water for my fingers. Okay, let's bump it up. Hey Siri, set a timer for 3 minutes. Okay. Now we're going to watch the dough transform a little bit. We saw it transform a lot already, but watch it what this does. We'll kind of thin it out a little bit. You can see it getting smoother, not as lumpy. Sometimes when that wraps around, we just a minute and a half left. See how smooth the dough is getting? A minute. Keep in mind, this has the starter in it, so this whole time that starter has been active, and it does count as part of the bulk fermenting time. But I really don't use a clock when I bulk ferment. I watch the dough, and I'll show you how I do that in a little bit. I have the Cambro container here that I'll put it in, and then I have some tape that I'll mark it with. Let's see how this goes. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let me, here, let's pull this out first. Pull this out. My fingers wet. Get my fingers wet so that the dough doesn't stick to my fingers. Okay. Now, you saw before we started how easy this was to tear. And you can see it still tears a little bit. But for the most part, there's a pretty good window right here, as you can see. So that's the stage we wanted at. So we're going to take this Cambro container, put it here. And I'll just work it a little bit with my hands. Just to get it into a nice ball. You can see how smooth that is. It's not silky smooth, but you can see how smooth it is. And you can see, I don't know if you can tell, the little brown dots. So just a little bit of wheat flour, the whole wheat flour that I put in here, the bran shows up. Okay, I'm going to drop it in here. Going to flatten it out a little bit. Okay. Wash my hands off a little bit here. I'm going to use this scraper. I'm going to get just the little bits that are on the bottom down here. And I'll stick that in there. Okay. Flatten it out some more. I'm not afraid of getting the dough too wet, especially with a 57% hydration dough. It can certainly handle the water easy enough. All right, I'm going to move all this to the side. And I'll mark it. So, just over here. See, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but you can, the level where the dough is at. The edges on the side are lower than what's in the middle, even though I tried to flatten it out. It's a little bit lower. So I come up just a little higher. I try and do like a average between where the center is and where the side is. And then I take a ruler that has millimeter markings on it. I don't know. Let's see if you can tell. And then I mark that height. That is 52. So I'll mark it at 52. And it is 427. I'll just put 430. And I want a 50% rise. So, hey Siri, what is 52 times 1.5? Come on, wake up.
52 times 1.5 is 78.
78, all right. One of my Siris was paying attention. So 78. So what I do is I take the tape now. Set this to the side so I can put it here. And I find 78 on here, and I mark it, which is right about there. And then I transfer it to the side. Like so. And it's not really necessary to put the number here, but I do it anyway. Okay. I'll snap it shut. And now we're going to let it bulk proof. Come on, snap shut. There we go. And now I'm going to let it bulk proof. when I take it out, when it's done bulk proofing, I'm going to put it in a pan that we're going to bake it in, and that's what the final proof will be. And the cold ferment will be also in that. Because I want it in the shape of a loaf, a sandwich loaf. If I were going to do a bowl or a baton, I would use a basket like this, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that. So when we pull it out of here and pre-shape it, we'll prepare that pan. Now, how I'm going to do the bulk ferment. I usually do this on the kitchen table, so let's move this over here. I'm going to bring this over a little bit. Okay. Now I have a fermenting mat. This is my fermenting mat right here. And it has temperature sensor right there. That's the readout. I usually do this on the kitchen table, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to do it here. Plug it in. It's my fermenting mat. Get it into Fahrenheit. It says it's 69 degrees, which is about right what it is in this kitchen right now. All right. I have a cooling rack right here. I'll set over the top. I'll set this on top of that, the Cambro container, and I'll stick the temperature sensor on the side. So it's right about at the level where the dough's at. And so this is going to sense the temperature of the dough as it goes. Now this is kind of a thing I made up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it to you. It's just a plastic container, but I wrapped it, the inside, in some reflective thermal insulation. And so I have one side that doesn't have it on it, that's clear, so I can see the dough inside. So what I'll do is I'll set that over the top of it, like so, and let it sit there. And you can see right here, I have the temperature right here, so it'll tell me when it's ready, or just let me know what it's at. I have it set to 78, and so that's what it'll bulk ferment at. So in the next portion of this video, what we're going to do is when we pull this out, we're going to do a pre-shape, shape it, put it in the pan to do its final proof, and then we'll stop there. So that's it for this part of the video. It's now 4:30. This is a lot longer than what I thought it would be, but that's okay. I go by the dough, not by my time schedule. And we'll leave it at that for now.